Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, it's an honor for me to rise today in defense of dreamers and those who brought them here. I rise in defense of them, Mr. Speaker, because, quite frankly, there was a desire for persons to come here. There was a desire for them to come and to work at wages that some considered subpar. A desire for them to work under conditions that were not the best. There was a desire for them to come, and they came. I rise in defense of them because, Mr. Speaker, we are complicit in this behavior. We were complicit because we knew they were coming, and we wanted them to come. I rise in defense of them because I don't believe that a country as great as the United States of America can ask young people to accept a pathway to citizenship but not give it to the people who brought them here, their parents in most cases, but in a good many cases, other persons who cared for them. To ask these young people to sell out, to borrow a term that we use, to sell out their parents is more than a great nation should ask of young people. To say to them, you can stay, but your parents may have to go. What kind of country are we if we demand this of young people who came with people that we wanted to come, who've done us no harm, who've worked hard in our kitchens, who've worked hard cleaning our homes, who've worked hard tending our fields, who worked hard bringing in the fruits of the labor that they brought to this country? What kind of country says you're going to go back after many years of being here and sending the young people back to places that they know very little of? Mr. Jose Escobar is a case in point. He was sent back to San Salvador. Hadn't been there in many, many years. Came here around 15 years of age. Mr. Speaker, now is the time for this country to take the affirmative action to correct what will be an injustice if we pursue the path that the president would have us pursue. Now is the time for us to make sure that every person is receiving the kind of liberty and justice for all that we extol in the Pledge of Allegiance. Now is the time for us to make sure that all of these young people are given the opportunity to succeed on their merits or fail on their demerits in the country that they know as home. Mr. Speaker, we are a great country. A great country does not do what the president is proposing, and I will not stand with the president on this. I stand and defend the dreamers and the people who brought them here, in most cases their parents. This is what a great nation ought to do. I know that there may be people who differ, but when you're standing on right, you don't worry about those who differ. This is the right thing for the United States of America to do. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back. The chair now